Hi, all my Virgo risings. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your June 2023 monthly horoscope. And I think it's a pretty powerful time right now as we have what I believe is a cumulative effect with the aspects that we've been walking through, bringing us greater awarenesses and offering us broader choices than maybe we've had in the past. But before I start, let me just do a quick bit of business. These videos are based on whole sign Western astrology. So if you don't know your rising sign, you're going to want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You need your exact time of birth and your location in order to determine that information. This is also applicable for Virgo moon and Virgo sun, but the house structure will be different. But for the most part, the larger concepts will be applicable. So let's jump in. The biggest thing happening, I think, this month is Saturn retrograding at 7 degrees Pisces. This is your 7th house, and this is an aspect that is going to take place all month long. Saturn is in the year 2023 going to traverse 0 to 7 degrees of Pisces. On the 17th, it's going to go retrograde. Let me just check the date real quick. Yes, it's going to go retrograde on the 17th. And this is an energy where the month of June, it will feel as if Saturn has planted his feet in the sky in cement, stubborn and unyielding. And I say that because I believe this is really something that's very powerful and very beneficial for you, because it's going to give you an opportunity in your 7th house of contractual partnerships to find and to implement and to integrate balance. And I say this because I believe Saturn is bringing and has been bringing a series of epiphanies, a series of experiences that are illuminating maybe some old patterns that you had not been aware of, that were sitting deep underneath the surface of your consciousness, and yet were driving your choices. Being a Virgo, 1st house Virgo, you're going to be somebody who's, process oriented. You're going to want things to be organized. You're going to want to know, where you're going. You're going to be very, by nature, rather considered dependable for those around you. And inadvertently, that could bring a little bit of challenge in your 7th house. And I say that because Pisces by nature can be a bit, oftentimes we think of the energy of Pisces as erosive. It's the last house before we leave the physical body. And so with this access, Virgo 1st house, Pisces 7th house, you might do a lot of heavy lifting in your relationships. And so I think what Saturn might be doing here is offering you an opportunity to really look at that dynamic and to start to build structures that will support your being more evenly set up within your interactions with others. That's the way I kind of want to put it, because not every Virgo is going to have a partner. So these could be people that you interact with on a contractual basis, business partners. It can also be how you view partnership, how you view the idea of your intimate life and how that would look. I say this because Pisces is super dreamy and imaginative and creative, and Saturn's kind of throwing a wet blanket on anything that would be out of bounds for your personal experience. Let me be more succinct when I say that. Saturn is wanting to create sustainable relationships. And if for some reason you have been entertaining dynamics that really are not an even exchange of energy or close to an even exchange of energy, things that support peace and harmony and feeling a sense of connected, cohesive connectedness, this sort of, we have a rhythm together, then Saturn's going to come in and sort of bubble up that imbalance. But let me kind of go back to the beginning of the month, because the month starts with Venus moving into Leo. And as Venus moves into Leo, she's going to pick up where Mars left off in the grand fixed square, starting with the opposition to Pluto. So Pluto is your 5th house of romance. Venus is going to be in your 12th house of Leo. And this very much plays to what I was saying before about Saturn being in your 7th house and Virgo being your 1st house. So I believe that your romantic life, your pleasure body, meaning your how you find enjoyment, what your hobbies are, what you do for entertainment, all the dynamics within the 5th house that, for the most part, how I view the 5th house is it's the most entertaining, fun house of the zodiac. There's very little work involved. It's the conception of children, not actually raising children. So as we conceive children, most people find that to be a fun act. And so here I feel like what we're looking at as Venus enters Leo in your 12th house and makes this opposition to Pluto, which is leaving your, Pluto is in your 6th house right now. Then it's going to retrograde back into your 5th house before it ultimately moves back into your 6th house in 2024. And so I feel as if this is an opportunity for you to look at how you've built the structures of your partnerships and how you've built the structures of your enjoyment and your pleasure. Because the 29th, 28th, and 27th degree are the 29 is the Leo degree, 28 is the Cancer degree, and 27 is the Gemini degree. That's where Pluto is going to revisit in Capricorn. So this is going to give you an opportunity to look at those degrees and to layer them on top of the structures that you're building in your 5th house. Are you finding joy in your self-expression? Are you giving enough time to yourself for personal pleasure and rejuvenation? Just frivolous dumb time. Are you trusting your inner voice and trusting your emotional body? Because the Pisces Virgo axis is one of health, both physical and mental health. And if you're overworked, overstressed, and you're running sort of on that other people's expectations of what you will deliver, it could inadvertently be putting you into a physical compromise that's giving you permission to rest. And this aspect is saying, no, claim your joy, claim your what you need in order to feel alive and rejuvenated. I think this is really powerful because as we go into that 28th degree, that's the nurturing degree, the Cancerian degree, the trusting my intuition. And then I'm going to go into the 27th degree of really being able to be aware of my everyday thoughts. And are they, and my everyday life, the mercurial dynamic, which is also your ruling planet, is that really supporting the journey I want to have in this lifetime? Because as Venus enters into this opposition with Pluto, initially it feels rather tense to me, but it almost feels as if Pluto is saying to Venus, you know, you're worth more than you think you are. You know, you're more powerful, you're more beautiful, you're more creative, you're more inviting than you know you are. And Pluto is holding space for you and willing to destroy whatever does not support that higher version of yourself, because Pluto is going to rebuild it in a way that you can't imagine. So where we start in a tense conversation that then seems to morph into this grand fixed square between the nodes, Jupiter up there with the North Node, expanding my belief in myself, expanding my faith, making me ravenous for wanting a new experience. This to me feels very powerful for you, because what it's doing is it's initially pinching you a little bit so that potentially you will open up and claim yourself in a way that is truly of service to others. Naturally, Virgo rules the 6th house, which is the house of service. And what I believe has inadvertently happened is that people have said, be of service to me. And when you're of service to me, you're a good person. And what I believe the divine says is when you're of service to yourself, you are of greater service to the whole. Because you are not here to be enslaved to an idea. You're not here to be productive per se. You're not here to be taught anything. You're here to experience your ability to manifest. Manifest joy, manifest misery. You're here to experience contrast, and how contrast is the impetus and the seedling for achievement and empowerment and feeling exhilaration. So all these things feel like they come up because as Venus makes this opposition to Pluto, in no short time, she's going to make an inconjunction to Saturn. Saturn will go retrograde on the 17th of the month. And as I said, I believe I said this earlier, I'm filming a lot of videos in a row. It's going to station at 7 degrees all month long. That's the Libra degree. So I believe the theme of this Saturn retrograde is the taking time to integrate the epiphanies, to extract the understanding so that as I build my life moving forward, it's sustainable in a way that serves me and others. Because as I serve myself, I'm invigorated and I'm revitalized to be of service to others. Pluto will actually re-enter Capricorn on June 11th. And as Pluto enters Capricorn, it's starting to make a sextile to Neptune, and it will continue until November to make a sextile to Neptune. Neptune again is in your 7th house, and Pluto is in your 5th house. This to me is an opportunity to really start to build structures, not in a fanciful way that is on a platform of sand, but to actually, this is what I want to say for Saturn, because Saturn doesn't really care what lane you choose to manifest or build. But when you choose one, Saturn wants you to stick to it to the end. So when you say, my creativity is important, my imagination is important, I'm an amazing dancer, I'm an amazing writer, I'm an amazing dreamer, I'm an amazing photographer, filmographer, I'm amazing at writing lyrics. Whatever it is, Saturn will start to put dynamics into place for you to have experiences to believe that in the material world. And they may scare you at first. It may be sort of like, oh my God, I've always thought I could do that, but I was never sure. And now Saturn's going to say, let's try. And when you try and you succeed, Saturn's going to want to build upon that. We're very much kind of right now working through, as I said, a cumulative effect of the aspects. And this particular 2023 early first eclipse season focused in on the Aries energy, having our solar eclipse at 29 degrees Aries, which is the self, and being a leader for the self at the 29th anaretic degree of Leo. And then we had a lunar eclipse on the 5th of May at 14 degrees Scorpio. That's a Venusian degree, the Taurus degree. And it's really asking us to dig deep into that lunar cycle of our own individual imprint, the psychological platform with which we truly make our decisions. Because more times than not, when we stop something, we stop it because somebody else won't approve of it. This person needs me to do that. I can't do this. I can't do that because I need to be of service over here. And this is what I think is actually Saturn's gift, is to determine more clearly and more succinctly what you want to be of service to. So now Saturn not only makes that has that conversation with Venus, it's also in a sextile with Jupiter for the whole month of June. So here is Saturn, the planet of structure, of building, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of faith, the planet of 2 planets of wealth, coming together to have a very harmonious conversation. And at the same time, where we were feeling a fixed grand square with Pluto, Mars, and Venus, and the nodes. Now we're feeling Saturn's influence on the nodes in a positive way, making a trine to the south node and making a sextile to the north node as it is conjunct Jupiter. This to me feels very much as if the things, when I see that trine to the south node, it feels as if I can look at the underbelly of my own psychology, and rather than criticize myself or judge myself or expect myself to have known better, I understand now the evolution, and I'm turning that into a tool. Meaning, when I feel that energy, when I recognize that dynamic in some way, it's inspiring me and I know how to maneuver it more easily. That's the beauty of a Saturn retrograde, because the first time it goes through an energy, it's sort of shocking. It feels like somebody's thrown a wet blanket on you, or somebody's come into that party and thrown the lights on and said, the cops are here, you got to, get home, run out the back door. And here now Saturn's saying, I threw the lights on because I wanted you not to step on that lit cigarette or to knock over that beer as you're running out of that party. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I hope you get where I'm going with this, because I believe that what this sextile is going to do is give you more faith in yourself and more a broader perspective of things, so that you can feel healthier within your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, your mental body, your financial body, and all the facets that make up who you are in this lifetime. And then we have Saturn going retrograde on the 17th of June, which is the same day as the new moon in Gemini. And that new moon is making a square to Neptune, which I think is very interesting, because again, there's this feeling with Neptune sometimes of having fog, of feeling almost this sense of like a jellyfish. I don't really have a lot of control sometimes. And here Neptune is in this square at 27 degrees, is asking me to look at the way I think. And is it erosive? Is it actually pulling me down? Or is it taking me up to the heights that it could be? Neptune is a very sort of duplicitous planet, because in that human erosion, it allows for the growth of my spiritual connection. So I think when it's called loss, when it's referred to as something that is its own sort of death, its own sort of conversion, it feels like that's more based from a human perception. I am losing this, oh no. But oftentimes what appears to be a loss can be a gain. That's where I'm going with this. And I think that's where the new moon comes in, because the new moon in Gemini and Neptune at the Gemini degree feels like some kind of integration between the way I think in my everyday life and my spiritual practice of, trusting the divine laws of the universe, paying attention to my own epicenter of thought. And are my thoughts serving the experience I want to have, or are my thoughts focused on the past somewhere that is anchoring me to something that is no longer palatable or serving me? Because really, you are only as good at being of service to others as you have the energy and the vitality to do that. And when it's a constant out, and there's no replenishment, then it's really not being of service, it's being of duty. And duty isn't as much fun for the other side to receive. It has an erosive energy of its own. So overall, for my Capricorns, what we're seeing is this idea of this Saturn and Neptune in your 7th house of relationships. But now I also want to say the house of, how do you create harmony for yourself? How do you nurture the partnership with your dreams, with your creativity, with your talents? Because this is very much, as you fuel that aspect of the Pisces energy, then I think it fuels and it fosters a more nurturing dynamic within your partnerships with the outside world. And me being a single woman for my whole life, I really think of that 7th house as not just marriage, but it as a house that's saying, am I standing in balance as best I can. And balance is not a flat line. It is an up and down flexible energy. Harmony is an understanding of the up and down flexible energy. Peace is trusting a bigger picture than that which I can see with my eyes. It's me starting to ask my question, what if this disruption is actually divinely guided and leading me to something that I couldn't have imagined? And oftentimes when you see people pursue their dreams with an open heart, you find that their fears, as they've walked through them, bring benefit that they could not imagine. So there's a bravery attached to this energy. It's it's a very powerful Neptune energy because it's staying at 27 degrees for the whole month. And that to me is really allowing that fog to clear and to allow my thoughts to align to the contrasting experiences that the human dynamic naturally fosters. You can't know what you want unless you've experienced what you don't want. You can sort of know it, but when you've experienced like a relationship that doesn't work, it makes it so much more important for me to have a relationship that does work. What were the dynamics of the relationship that didn't work? We had different spiritual beliefs. We had different ideologies. So now, Virgo, you can move into partnerships that are aligned with your ideologies, that are aligned with your growing philosophies of life, that are aligned to your being part of the situation and a valued member of the partnership, not just somebody who could potentially cling to you for security. That's a little bit of the challenge of having the Piscean water and having the earthbound, I shouldn't say earthbound, but I was thinking of dirt and the ground and how water feeds the ground and allows for it to be moist enough to absorb the water. And if the clay or the soil is too hard, then the water can't absorb and it creates flooding. So I think this is part of the dynamic. I hope that made sense. That's it for me for this June. I hope you'll join me Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific time for my live stream. That's where we pull a tarot card and do an angel reading and get the advice of the angels for traversing the week ahead's transits. Also, if you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below. Just send me an email and I'll send you all the information you need. And please like, please subscribe, please share, and please comment. I try to read, I read all your comments and I try very hard to respond to them all. So know that I feel the love of your comments. So thank you so much. And I'll see you next month, Virgo. Peace out.